Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed during this program do not necessarily represent those of the FloBro Show. The claims made by
Just stop being so sensitive.
I get the call from a random number and it's a FaceTime number. I'm like, that's ASAP. Like, oh my gosh, it's about to happen. So I turn on, it's him looking like a toy. And I'm like, bro, you look horrible in real life. You look nothing like
that's funny.
Videos. Yeah. So he immediately laughed and it was just like, it was buddy after that.
Cool.
And we're just goofing, but
yeah, that's the best way to become friends with somebody is make fun of them right away.
Yeah. Just
find out what kind of person they are right off the bat.
Yeah, that's what it is. You'll find out exactly what they are.
Yeah, if we can make fun of each
Do
other,
they
we
take
can't be
themselves
friends.
too seriously or not?
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you for tuning into the FloBro Show, presented by FLOrigins. FloBros and FloHos, we're on the FloBro Show. Today, we've got Gwak Productions.
What's up?
Joel. We got Aaron, your Florida guy. Blake, a natural-born filmmaker. And I'm JD with FLOrigins, staff of the group. Let's talk to Gwak about his badass art.
Okay.
So we're here with Gwak. We're in his Airbnb. I don't know how much you can see. We'll throw up the wide shot. We can see this living room. And Gwak is a local artist known for his life-size pop art.
Yeah.
Would you consider?
Yeah. So oversized pop culture sculptures. That's like my tag. That's my thing I say. Yeah. It's actually really hard to say when you're dyslexic. It's very hard.
Really fast.
You work on it and you get it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess the first question would be, you started this art and you named your artist name Gwak.
Gwak. Yep.
Very curious.
GWAK. Not like guacamole. It's
right.
Sounds like it, but yeah.
It's more like Gwak.
Gwak.
What's the story behind that?
I was living in Arkansas. We talked about Arkansas a little bit. I was outside playing by myself. I was just a neighborhood tree climbing, river playing type of kid. And I was standing on this curb and this kid came skateboarding down this big hill. It was a huge hill too. Skateboarding. He pulled up to me. He was probably first or second grade, smoking a cigarette. And he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I'm like, "My name is Joel. My real name's Joel."
Yeah.
I'm like, my name's Joel. And he's the coolest kid I've ever seen. I'm a little bit older than him. And he's like, "Well, how about we change your name to Gwak?" And I'm like, "Gwak?" He's like, "Yeah, like Joel the Guacamole, Guacajoli, or Gwak." And I was like, "That's so cool. Yeah, totally." But I'm very dyslexic and don't know how to spell. So I spelled it GWAK. So that's where Gwak came from.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And then he skateboarded away and I've never seen him since.
So some smoking second grader on a skateboard.
Yeah.
He might have been like an angel.
That's probably the
Divine
most unique
intervention. I was
way
gonna
to
say,
get a name
yeah.
too. I've never heard of a nickname coming from a source like that.
Yeah.
You've been carrying it all these years, too.
Yeah. I was actually before the Gwak 9000 or whatever they say. If you know what that is. Yeah. And it's spelled exactly the same way.
So like a fair ride?
They're like, why would you?
It could be.
It's definitely a fair ride.
I don't know what it is. What is it? Oh,
Don't look up Gwak 9000.
Okay. Gotcha.
Viewers, don't do it.
Don't do it. Disclaimer.
It was before that came out and people are like, don't you want to change your name? I'm like, heck no, I want it even more. That's freaking awesome. Yeah. So,
Get way more Google searches now.
yeah.
Yeah.
People try to make fun of it and they're like, oh, like Gwak 9000. I'm like, yeah, you got it. You'll never forget it. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Oh my God.
You can't embarrass me, man.
No,
it ain't gonna happen.
There's no room for that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this pop art.
Sure.
I like that Nintendo Zapper gun you got.
Gun, yeah.
So I remember when Nintendo came out, I got mine like in the 89 or 90. When you bought the Nintendo console, it came with Mario and Duck Hunt, and it came with the gun.
Yeah.
But mine had the gray gun, and I see that you have the gray and the orange because some of them did come with the orange Zapper gun.
Yeah.
I thought that was
I
pretty
had the
neat
orange
that you
one.
kind of addressed both of them because I think it depended on what year you got it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dictated on
You
which
know
gun
why
you
they
got.
did the color?
I don't know.
So the gray one was the original
That's
color.
the one I had, yeah.
And the police were saying that's too close to a real gun. So they switched it over to full
So
orange. Not full orange, but predominantly orange.
Yeah.
So I had to make both. Yeah.
I could just see that little dog laughing at you when you miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. That freaking dog. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nothing made me more mad than that dog.
And the funny thing is I don't think you can play that game now, even because I have an original NES because it won't work on the TVs we got.
You're probably right.
You have to have one of the old tube TVs in order for the Zapper to work.
Yeah.
But I do have an original NES. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I think I'm torn between the Big Zapper gun and the Pee Wee Herman with the popcorn being my two favorite things that I've seen.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, something about that Pee Wee. I remember when
he's
I
iconic
remember all
Florida.
that. Yeah.
You know why I did the popcorn?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And the little stain on the underwear. And
So he's from Sarasota, like where we're at right now. That's why I did Pee Wee Herman and the popcorn bucket, because what he got caught doing at the movie theater. And he's wearing the risky business, socks, smoking a cig.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I'd like, initially it was straight up the Nintendo gun, but then I saw the other one, and the Pee Wee Herman, and I was like, man, that's iconic for the especially for the area. I thought that was a pretty good one.
I'll hook you up with some stuff before you guys go. Yeah, for sure. So.
Yeah, that's Pee Wee Herman. He just passed away like not too long ago.
Yeah,
right?
it's a shame. Yeah, I made all that Pee Wee Herman stuff before he passed away because I love the guy. Yeah. He actually liked a lot of the things that I posted because I would tag him and he would like it. So I'm like, okay, he's not pissed that I'm doing it. Now people are like, how dare you? The dude named himself Pee Wee Herman. The dude was a sex joking, like his very first video, TV show was sex based. It was an adult TV show. Yeah. And it did so well that they're like, let's make it more kid friendly. But he kept the name Pee Wee, which is.
I remember watching it as a kid. It kind of freaked me out with the talking couch.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of a freaky show.
When you're young like that, like it was creepy. Like even at like 7, 8, 9 years old, watching, I was like, just something ain't right about this guy.
Like this little laugh and all that
very
stuff.
LSD style. Yeah.
But then he did do a good job as an actor in that movie Blow. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He did a pretty good, and I think he's acted in a few other movies. He does have
cameos.
a serious role to him in some.
That's going to be tough
cases.
being so known for one thing and then you're going to try and do something else.
He cornered that market.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And he ride on that bike.
Yes.
Yeah. I want that bike, man.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I think we all do.
Dang. There's a guy that makes them, not locally, but he makes them. They're like $10,000. I'm trying to trade art for it, but I'm not on his level.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Taco Bell bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
what inspired that?
Yeah. it goes hand in hand, man. Yeah. In one hand and up the other hand. I built this Airbnb and I found a Taco Bell sign just on Marketplace. It's like $150. I'm like, definitely buying that. It's cool. I don't know where I'm going to put it, So I started looking at all the wall space. I'm like, the only spot that I have available is like the bathroom. Perfect. I'll put it in the bathroom. And then once I put it in there, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. It needs like more, And we had this old vending machine, like a Pepsi it's Pepsi, just on our property, just chilling, like in the woods, basically. So I cut the door off. I cleaned it all up, repurposed it, put in all new lighting and electrical, and it fit perfect inside the bathroom. And then once I got to that point, I was like, I'm a oversized pop culture sculptor, so I need to make giant hot sauce packets. So I made all the flavors, and I'm like, all right, let's make the toilet. And so it just kind of evolved into what it is now.
It's the most elaborate toilet paper holder I've ever seen in my life.
I even like the touch of the Mountain Dew. What is
the toilet cleaner thing? The Baja Blast toilet cleaner.
Bidet? What is it? Bidet?
The bidet.
The
Baja Blast
and even
bidet.
the water in the toilet is blue.
It's blue. Yeah. It turns the
Mountain
right
Dew.
color of the Baja Blast. It turns the perfect color when you pee in it.
Yeah.
I did that greenish blue color.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think I've been rickrolled like 3-4 times since I walked in this house too.
Yeah.
Various different locations.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I'm sitting on the
you're
sitting on one of the pillows now.
Yeah. And you get a lot of people coming to this Airbnb because like it's such a unique experience.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if you're going to go on vacation in Sarasota, like this is a perfect spot. It's if you're from the right era. If you're not from the right era, it doesn't make sense. Boomers. Some boomers come here and like, yeah, it's really cool. Why do you keep playing Rick Ashley? They don't understand. But yeah, it's cool for if you're gonna do something, do something fun. Don't just stay in shell art. Hotels.
Well, I totally geeked out as soon as we walked in the door and I saw this whole wall here. I was like, oh man, I need that in my life.
Yeah, it's a good collection. Yeah.
What's the style of what's this style, like your house, this Airbnb? It's called something like the art, like
you know what it's called.
No.
You know what it's called. Say it.
I don't. What is it?
It's dopamine decor.
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah,
you knew I knew it. I just forgot.
You did know. Or it's called maximalist. So the opposite of minimalist is
it's
max.
maximalist.
You just put a crap ton of stuff into the...
Yeah.
Everywhere you look is dopamine.
It's been nothing but dopamine since I got here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even need the coffee you gave me, and I'm like trying to make sure I don't talk the enther podcast because of just because of how hyped up I am. But we show up, there's like a 5 foot tall Furby. I mean, there's got a 64 Impala lowrider. Like my inner lowrider nerd just love that. I'm like everywhere I turn, I'm like there's just more. It just keeps going and going. Giant shopping cart outside. I mean, it's just. Everywhere I turn, I'm like, there's just more and more and more. And like the dopamine rush I'm feeling just from remembering a lot of this stuff from when I was a kid, or just seeing stuff and being like, that's freaking cool. Giant push pops and blow pops out there in the garage. And you got that little storefront thing that you're building. It looks like a little street corner. I mean, everything about it is just awesome. It's really cool stuff.
I really like, you were just on another podcast talking about your art and how you started and just all this stuff. And I really liked when they asked you like what made you start doing this art, or were you always like this as a kid? And you brought up like you are punished for being creative and over the top as a kid. Like, no, you need to behave. And then as an adult, you're like rewarded. It was
a weird epiphany. Someone commented, or I forget how they said it, but they're like pointing out and shining light that the louder you are, the more people like you. And I was like, man, that's like the total opposite in school. I got in so much trouble. I'm sure we all did. And now look at us. We're being rewarded by being the loud kid. So it's kind of weird how school kind of holds you down, and the second you can actually be the person.
It's kind of funny. Like I don't mean to keep bringing this up in all the podcasts, but that's how I ended up homeschooled, because I was getting straight A's in school, but I was getting in trouble because I was always daydreaming, staring out the window, drawing on my desk, like all this stuff, and like I kept getting in trouble. But they're like, but his grades are great. So like they finally got sick of the school, and there's a little more to the story than that. But but besides that, it was. It came to the point where they're just like, well, he's doing great in school. Let's pull him out of that environment. And then they let me do my schoolwork, and I would do all my schoolwork on like a Sunday evening. And then I would just do whatever the rest of the week. And I was always building weird stuff and painting stuff and just everything, even toy cars. Any toy car I bought, I would take other toy cars. I like the wheels better from that one. I like the car of that one. And then I got into modifying cars for a living for a while, like Autotronics in Sarasota and stuff like that. So it was like that creative bug was always there. It was always something that I wanted to do. And every car I've bought, they haven't been left alone for more than a couple of weeks before I start doing stuff to them. And, you know, and seeing that Impala lowrider you got just makes me want to finish the caddy. And it just, I don't know. It's something that's always been in me too. And I think that's how we all came together, was just different creativity. We all see things differently than the average person. Some people go through life, they just buy something the way it is. They keep it that way forever, and that's the end of it. But everything that I buy, like whether it's my house or my cars, anything, I gotta change it. I gotta make it better. I see it differently than what it comes out of the box as or whatever. And that's just something that's always been in me.
Have you tried pursuing art?
You know, it's funny. I don't mean to bring this up again either, but in rehab, we had an art class on I think it was Wednesdays. And I've never painted anything before. I mean, when I was a kid, obviously, whatever, but they brought in watercolors, and you got a bunch of drunks and junkies in a room with paintbrushes and paper.
I bet it was so good.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I started painting this thing, and it kind of looked like the Grim Reaper, but then I put like big red X's over its eyes, and maybe we'll throw up. I think I got a picture of it. We can throw up or whatever people see. But it was like, once I got done with it, I was even looking at it like, I didn't even know I can. And then I made the opposite side. Like I had the dark one, and then I painted another one that looked like a torso, but it was just fire. Like it was just like flames ignited, and I just painted it with orange and red and yellows. And when I was done, I was like, I didn't think I even had anything like that in me. And I've never really pursued it, but it's something that I'm like, maybe I got it in there and it's dormant.
T-shirt
and I just
drop. T-shirt drop.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Why not?
I mean, I made this T-shirt.
Yeah.
He makes T-shirts.
Yeah, you're definitely an artist. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you got a craft that.
Yeah, thank you. I make 2 different sizes of those, and I've got like 35 different flavors. I just did yesterday, started making like a little surfboard out of I made a surfboard. I have so much scrap wood left over.
That's turning out really cool.
And I put the Florida flag on a surfboard, but it's a wooden surfboard. So it's kind of like that, but it's surfboard shape. But yeah, you know, we've kind of created something. So when I first started doing that, I realized I was the only one that was doing Florida flags with the detail. I seen some people doing some that were like made out of pallet wood, and they maybe used like a laser engraver on some cheap balsam wood for the seal, and it just didn't look right. I'm like, this just looks like something you'd buy at a flea market. So I'm like, I could do better. And I'm like, and no one was really doing the Florida flag right. So I'm like, I can really put my work into this. So I've modified the seal so that keep the state off my back, but I didn't want to bastardize it because when FLOrigins buy something like that, they don't want it to look cheesy or corny. Like if I didn't tell you that that wasn't the original seal, you wouldn't think that it's not, but it has been slightly tweaked. There's a gator in the background and stuff. So by creating the art and then coming up with all these different flavors of the Florida flag and then kind of basing a lot of apparel and accessories and stuff off of it, it just kind of growed.
Yeah.
It just grown over the past 2 years now. And yeah, I do appreciate it. I mean, that's really kind of what got me into it. I mean, I was a carpenter for 25 years. So, and I know you're a woodworker too. Mm-hmm. So once you start doing that, it's hard to put it down. You always got this stuff coming up. I'm like, I could do this better than this other person did it. And, you know, I have to tweak it a little bit and make it my own. Yeah. But really no one was doing stuff like that. It's like with quality, you know, there was a phase where people were making American flags out of pallets and like just silly shit you would buy at a farmer's market or a flea market or something. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I really wanted to put some work and detail into this so that, you know, when somebody buys it, you know, they want to hang it on their wall. Yeah. And I've even got into making trophies for fishing tournaments throughout the state of Florida, where we take the logo for the tournament and put it in place of the seal.
Sick.
And we've done like ones for done some for redfish tournament. I've done some for a sailfish tournament.
How long have you been doing this?
I'm about 2 years now.
Yeah. You're to the point where you might start getting weird with it. And I am
starting to get weird with it because, like I said, I'm going to start doing the surfboard patterns instead of it being a square. It's like a surfboard. Exactly. I'm going to put fins on it.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to do 2 different colors of that, and like I said, I've done a bigger size. The thing with the Florida flag is there's a formula online that tells you how to proportion it correctly, and if you don't do it, the bars are too small in relation to the height and the width, and the seal has to be a certain diameter depending on the height and the width and depending on the size of the bars on the cross. So really figuring that out was the hardest challenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the degree of the angle of the bars and all that too. Yeah, that's specific.
It's a Krabby Patty formula. Mm-hmm. It's a secret formula to get that all proportionally correct. That's why a lot of people who do it, it looks like the bars are too thin or it just doesn't look right. It's either too wide or too tall. Yeah. So it took me a little while to get that size down. And then I was like, and I had somebody request a larger one. I'm like, yeah, it's time to do a larger one. So I'm going to go ahead and make a 42 by 30 size. And, cool. You know, so we got 2 different sizes and I got like 35 different color schemes that I've kind of created with it just to try to keep it. But I mean, that's the most, obviously that is the best seller, the red and white one.
Yeah.
Traditional.
It's very Florida.
Yes, it is. We've got a bunch of
100%. It's 100% Florida.
Yeah, it's like officially Florida.
I don't think you could be anymore. Yeah.
What made you do the style of art that you do, like the pop art? Culture,
great question. Culture, I have no idea. It's just you fall into a style.
Great answer.
Having style and being creative is very difficult, as you know.
Right.
Trying to create your own, I don't know how to explain it. When someone looks at something, they can be like, oh, that's Gwak, like, or that's Picasso. Having a style, and then everyone will rip that. If you have any type of success, they rip it. So I don't know if I have a style yet, but I do see people are tagging me and other people's art that I'm like, hey, that is exactly something I'm interested in. Like recently there was the
truck. The truck. You're just like, I'm gonna get out of art and do vehicle. It was like the vehicle, but it looked like
it was the Porsche.
Oh, okay. It was a Porsche.
Yeah, like a Lego Porsche.
The Lego Porsche. Yeah. I'm like, someone tagged me and I was like, that is exactly the quality, the image that I want to be known for. Mm-hmm. It's not my art, but like the fact that someone saw that and tagged me, I was like, 100% you are perfectly on it. So
absolutely.
And I don't know how you create style. You kind of fall into it. You're maybe inspired by someone. I don't know, but that's the direction I went into.
I think my biggest curiosity when I look at all the stuff that you have, like the big Nintendo guns and the Furby.
Sure.
What was the trial and error process like that, and the materials and the framing and how to build it? Like how hard was it to find like the handles got to be made out of this, the barrels got to be made out of, or like the Furby? Because I've tried to build, like especially in car stereos, you try to build the frame and you do the fiberglass work and all that. Yeah. But you got to experiment with so many different materials to get certain things to manipulate the way you want it to do. Yeah. So I got to imagine that, especially like that Furby. I mean, it's furry and the face is so perfectly accurate.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And the Nintendo, I mean, everything. But I imagine the trial and error process on materials was wild.
Yeah, people are only seeing that finished, polished piece, and it's trial and error. Some things I nail first try, but it might be something that I'm familiar with. Woodworking, I'm very, very familiar with woodworking. Yeah. I can build something from start to finish, first try, and know exactly how to do it. But a lot of these materials, like I'm using plastic or fiberglass, resin, everything's a new process. So to me, that's more artistic than the finished product. I'm more excited about like, how the heck did I make the mouth on the Furby? Yeah. And if I was to tell you the process to get there, it wouldn't make any sense. Like I used Christmas ornaments for the mouth to like get that perfect dome.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So like just weird things to make something happen. So like juice boxes. Yeah. I've made literally, I think 20 to 25 of those before I got the one. And each one I made was like $50 to $100 in material. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you make a lot of them, you spend a lot of money, so you got to have a cool wife to support it. But now they're selling, and so it's
like right off the bat, like naturally you think styrofoam. Like, oh man, that's an easy thing. You can mold it, you can shape it. First thought styrofoam. Mm-hmm. Then you start putting chemicals on it. You try to do resin or something on the styrofoam, and then the whole thing, and you're like, well, if styrofoam's not the answer, then you got to try to move on to the next thing, and that's a very difficult. Because once you introduce chemicals to styrofoam, it's a whole different ballgame, and
so
you find out you can't use it. And
there's an insulation you have to do in between styrofoam and whatever product you're putting on. Chemical,
and I've ran into that experimenting too. I'm like, oh, it's so easy. You just mold it. You heat up a wire. You take a sawzall with a fine tooth blade, whatever. Form it, shape it, whatever. You get it exactly the way you want it. First drop of chemical hits it, and the whole thing just. Like, oh, I just spent hours on that. I can only imagine what you've gone through with that process and the amount of things that you've tried for hours and then had blow up in your face and probably sometimes literally. Yeah,
maybe not yet. Like fingers crossed. Yeah, but like the giant tech deck, that's a good example of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. The plastic on it, I had no idea how to do any of that. This is brand new first trial. Basically, I had to figure out what that type of product's called. It's called a blister packet. Mm-hmm. So went down the whole rabbit hole of researching blister packet for a week and a half. And I'm nonstop researching. Yeah. So talking to manufacturers and all that kind of stuff. And then I find out it's not a blister packet when it goes to that size. It's a vacuum forming table. So, which heats up plastic, Yeah. And so now I'm a whole new rabbit trail. And there's machines that make plastic that big, but they're $50,000 machines. Yeah. I ain't got that kind of money yet. So I had to make my own machine. So now I'm on a whole new rabbit trail. How do I make a machine? So I've made the machine to make the thing, but now I got the machine. I spent $2,500 building a machine to make a plastic.
But you didn't spend $50,000. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Did it yourself?
But it also didn't sell. So I'm sitting on this piece of art that's just chilling. But I do traveling shows, so it's fine.
Yeah. What I like about your craftsmanship is the detail of everything is proportionally correct.
Yes, yeah.
I noticed that. It's like even down to like the ecto cooler, the writing on there, the size, diameter of the straw, like the detail you put into it. It doesn't look like you just haphazardly tried throwing it together. Like you really spent time on like, the font has to be this big because of the size of it. Yeah. Like was really amazed when I look around and look at your stuff. I'm like, wow.
Thanks, man.
And all the different types of materials, like they were saying, that go into it. Yeah. Sourcing those materials. Yeah. I would imagine that's a task.
Sourcing, that's very difficult. Yeah. And that's I've driven to facilities that manufacture these raw materials just to talk to the foreman. I'll pull up to the warehouse where like you're supposed to go to like the front and talk to. Nope, I go to the warehouse and just walk through the bay door and I'm like, hey, where's the foreman? Who can I talk to? And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I have a meeting with the foreman. I get into the office of the foreman that's running the whole warehouse or the warehouse manager. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to talk to you about this product. And they have no problem talking about it. Right. They're bored. They're just chilling. Yeah. And so they talk to me about stuff and they give me the whole like behind the scenes on everything. So I've done that multiple times. Like, it's just, you got to put that work in of like figuring it out. And that's where most artists stop. If the artist, I'm not that creative. There's so many people that are so much more creative, but they don't have that drive to just get it done. Yeah. Just be a doer. That's all you got to do. The drive. A doer. The dude's being a doer.
Is it doer?
Yeah, that's all. You know what I mean?
I commented one time on your Instagram and you built your shop and you were talking about you're on your little scooter and you're like,
come on, man.
What?
Insulting my scooter?
Your big white scooter.
My manly scooter.
Your giant manly scooter you're riding around. But you're in your shop and you're talking about like what you're gonna do and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally come in, I was like, bro, like save some for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Like you're just
Doing
like
too much.
you're just nonstop. And do you for me personally, I came across this video where I can't remember the name or what it's called, but it's this thing when you are in creative mode, you just want to keep going and doing. It was Mr. Beast. I came across a video of Mr. Beast. He's like, hey, I'll stay up for 24 hours because I'm in this creative mode and I won't stop. And then I'll sleep. Does that happen to you when you're like, you've had energy out of nowhere and your brain's just going like, I'm going to do this. And you just won't stop. You're just like, screw schedules. Like, I'm just going to do this.
I'm very schedule based.
Okay.
I love having that organization and just being refined to a box, basically.
Okay.
I love that. I love writing out, what do you call it? Like to-do lists.
Yeah.
Very important to me. So
Gotcha.
I do a lot of those. But when I know what you're talking about, whatever Mr. Beast is talking about, that space,
Yeah.
that is like
When it hits,
heaven.
you don't want to stop it.
It is the
It's
best
creative
drug
flow
you
or
could
something.
ever have. Yeah, creative flow. I don't know.
Yeah.
There has to be a really good word for that, but
Yeah.
it is a real thing. When you're in that creative space,
Yeah.
you're just ripping and try to utilize as much. I will cancel something, obviously, if something's scheduled and I'm in that creative space. Hey, we got to push this off because it's so rare to get inside. And like the Beatles, I guarantee the Beatles have talked about it at some point, and it's probably 2 a.m. on Coyote or Peyote, whatever they call it. Peyote, you know, like it's LSD, whatever it might be, but like they hit that moment and then that's when they write all their songs. Like they write 10 songs in like an hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that type of energy. Yeah.
So when you left yesterday,
Yeah.
that's what I was in.
You were in that mode.
I was in that. That's how I came up with that surfboard.
Yeah, dude, you
I'm
knocked
like,
it out fast.
I was like, I was thought about it,
Yes.
and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I know exactly how to do it. I'm gonna lay it out, and I literally knocked 90% of it out in one day. And I was texting you guys pictures, but I had seen somebody did a surfboard. And they UV printed like an American flag, like on a wood surfboard. I'm like, I can do that better. Let's make this shit 3D.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of scrap wood. Let's put a Florida flag on it, put some cool fins, make it more 3D when you put it on the wall. And that's when you came and picked up the stuff. I was like, as soon as he leaves, I'm out in the garage for like 4 or 5 hours getting this thing done. I'm just in the zone. Auto zone this shit, just getting it done.
You were in Mr.
Loved it.
Beast mode.
It was, yes.
For me, it's editing.
Well, you know what's funny too is I can always, because we got a group text, the three of us, the FloBros we have a group text that we're sending. Most of the time it's really dumb stuff, but a lot of it is about the podcast and what we're doing, different techniques we're trying, all that.
Sure, yeah.
And when we get going, it'll be 15, 20 notifications an hour, just whatever. And
I'll
then all of a
read it
sudden,
afterward.
And then all of a sudden JD will dip out.
Oh,
And then we're like, he's in the mode. Like we just know that he's out there creating something because he's normally the biggest texter or just
not at all.
Nothing.
Well, because when you get in that mode, you got to put your phone down because it's very distracting.
Yep.
I've known you enough now to know like he's in the zone.
Well, I mean, because I'm out in the garage making flags. I'm doing something that is I need to get paid for. Like enough dicking around. I got my workout in. I ate. I got to put the phone down because it's very tempting to pick it up every time you see it, and that's just I look at the end of the day. I'm like, man, I could have just kept my phone down. I got so much more accomplished.
Your brain is just going this way, and you have to text. No. Dude, I'll get to that. It ain't going nowhere.
It ain't going nowhere. So you guys notice that I do that.
It's not a bad thing by any means.
Okay.
It's just I just notice I'm like he's in the zone. He's in creative mode. And
I'm like, oh, he didn't respond to my text.
I'm being so passive. I'm so pissed about this.
But I don't.
No, I really don't. I just know he's in the zone.
I'll text a lot if it just depends where I am headspace wise too. It's funny
because like for me, I'm married and I have 2 kids, and you can ask my wife. Like when I get in the mode, I forget I have a family. Like I literally am like I got to do this. This is the only thing on my mind.
Yeah.
And then it's like my kid's hungry, and I'm like, I got to feed her. And then I'm like trying to get back in that mode, and it's like
you're on video
once you get
too.
there, it's like you don't want to shut it off because you don't know how to kickstart it again.
Yeah.
So once your wheels get turning,
that's your creativity right there. Is your videos. He asked earlier, what are you into art? That's your creativity. If you think about it, because you put a lot of work. And you know how to work those apps and how to do certain things and what kind of music and how to edit and cut it all with your phone.
Well, I have to do it all for free. Like I use an ad-supported video editing software because I don't have the money to invest on like Premiere or any of those good things. So I use an ad supported app. So like when I want to remove the watermark, I got to watch 30-second ad when I want to. So I've done everything that I've done without spending money. The most expensive thing I bought was that don't feed hallucinogens to the alligators sign. I spent $40 on that sign, and there is a real sign somewhere in Florida. I couldn't find it, so I made my own. But that video's got me 10 million views twice. That's that stupid sign. I spent $40 making the sign, and I didn't really have the $40 to spend on it, but I knew that if it went the way I thought it was going to go, it was going to make my money back, and it sure did. Like it made a bunch of money, but it was like that initial spending. You're just kind of like, man, if this doesn't work. And, but then it's like, it's not even the money side. Sometimes I'll spend like that one I did where I went out to the mailbox and it looked like this post-apocalyptic world and fire everywhere. And it was just going to the mailbox in the summertime. I spent like all day on there learning how to do these special effects overlays, making it look like I'm in this fiery environment. And I did it all for free with multiple ads I had to watch. Posted it, got like 20,000 views. And I'm like, I thought that was going to be like this big seller. Yeah. But then it's like, I'll get other ones where I just like walk outside. I'm like, oh, it must be 3 o'clock. And then there's a storm cloud. And then it's like 4 million views. And I'm like, I literally made that while I was in the bathroom. Like, and that one's the one that takes off. And you have no idea. Yep. Kind of like your tech deck, like what you're talking about. You spent this time researching, you're learning it, and then you're still hanging onto that board, but then you make something else, and all of a sudden that's what takes off. And you're like, well, what the heck? Like, you have no idea how to read people, especially when it comes to creative stuff or art. You don't know what other people want or enjoy.
Well, there you go. That's the thing. Yeah. Make it for yourself. So I made that funny video for myself. And if no one likes it, I don't care. I made it for myself. Like, my
mailbox video is my favorite video.
Who cares?
I really don't care. Yeah. Like I watch it.
In a week, let's repost it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. It'd be cool if it blew up.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
We'll play especially right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
We'll play it right now. It's right now.
I'm just going outside to check the mail. Nothing but junk.
So that video.
So isn't that
wow, that was right amazing.
Isn't that funny how the stuff that you spend the most time on tends to get the least amount of reactions or generate the least amount of money or whatever. It's silly. Because I have that St. Augustine Florida flag that I created off of the St. Augustine Lighthouse. I still have the first one. I've created fishing trophies based off of it because the fishing tournament was based out of St. Augustine. It fit the logo very well, but not anybody has ordered that. I'm like, how can not anybody? I literally created this from nothing. I created a Rastafarian Florida flag that has never been created before and hadn't sold a one.
Doesn't matter.
And I don't understand. So I hang on to it. I'm like, y'all don't know what you're missing.
That's just bad. I like that flag. Yeah.
This guy right here created it. Like, you create so much stuff that no one's ever seen before.
Yep.
And it's like, why can't you see how badass this is? Kind of
doesn't matter.
It's
you
crazy.
made it for yourself. You did it for you, and that's what's important.
That's what it is.
The funniest thing is, like, one of my first videos that hit 1 million views, I didn't even try to make it to be a viral video. It was raining in my front yard and sunny in the backyard. So I just show out the sliding door. I'm like perfectly sunny in the backyard. And I walk to the front door and I open it up. It's just pissing down rain out front. And I just posted it as is, like whatever. And it started this comment war of people like, I saw the camera split. I saw where he cut it. I saw the editing. I'm like,
I can't control
it started this war. And I'm like, there was no camera cut. Like straight up, it was just raining in the front yard, not in the backyard. But FLOrigins and non-FLOrigins, it turned into this comment battle. And this video went crazy. And I literally didn't put any effort into it. It was just record, walk to the door, open the door. That was it. I wasn't even intending on it to be a video that did anything. And that, for some reason, still gets views. Like 2 years later, it's still constantly getting views. Funny. And I'm like, but I didn't even try to make a video out of that one. It was just a straight up, this is what Florida's like. And
if you can give someone something to comment about, they're going to comment.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I film it in any bathroom whatsoever, I will intentionally turn the toilet toilet paper backwards, because you'll get at least 20 to 50 comments. it's wrong. And then
the over-under battle.
Yeah, and Garrett, do anything in the bathroom. Like if you post anything about this bathroom, it's probably
everybody.
But
everybody knows the toilet paper is supposed to go over.
It's supposed to go over, but you intentionally turn it back, so you're guaranteed to get comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that's
It's guaranteed.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's funny.
So you're just a straight up sociopath if you go under.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that ASAP Rocky deal you did.
Yeah, that was
freaking cool.
Wild that he reached out. He saw the tech deck. If you've seen his music videos, he is unbelievably brilliant with his music videos. It's the most stunning, cool effects, everything. I don't know if it's real or AI or edit. I don't know, but it's incredible. He does a lot of oversized stuff where he's an action figure or he's just real little and everything's real big. And so it's just naturally my style of art curated perfectly into what he's trying to do. So they reached out to do this Indy 500 or Indy race in Miami, and he wanted a giant toy box with him inside of it. So they gave me 1 week to get it made.
Oh my goodness.
Made it in a week.
Wow.
Dude, that's nuts.
Crazy.
You had someone help you?
I definitely had help. A good friend of mine named Chris Miller, he drives a sick Cadillac. He came over, helped me weld the whole thing up. Wow. And then another good friend, Sakayla, she came over and did all the vinyl wrapping.
That turned out awesome too.
Yeah.
Didn't he do a McDonald's commercial where they had like an ASAP Rocky meal or something at McDonald's and they had his little action figures running around in the commercial?
I have no
Is that him? Maybe, I don't know.
Probably. It sounds
I think
like
that's something I think he did that.
Well, did you get to go to to it?
I delivered it to Miami. They took an arcade and they covered every square inch of the entire property. So like the walls were covered with ASAP Rocky stuff. Every game they made new visuals for the top of like the arcade game. Everything was branded for ASAP. And it had to have been multi-millions just to convert it.
Wow.
Yeah. His wife Rihanna pulled up later that night. It was just like a whole thing. It was
I've heard of her.
I didn't go. Yeah. She likes umbrellas.
hey.
No, I didn't stay for it because I'm not a fan of Miami. I don't like crowds. I'm very introvert when it comes to big crowd stuff. I don't like it. So I was like, we dropped and bolted. Drove back home.
So you didn't get to meet him or anything?
No, I got to FaceTime with him.
Oh,
yeah. Which was cool. But yeah, it was. He's a bro. Like he's one of the guys. So when he put on his mask. He has a mask that he wears that makes him look like a toy. Yeah. So when I opened up my phone, when he's like, I get the call from a random number and it's a FaceTime number. I'm like, that's ASAP. Like, oh my gosh, this is about to happen. So I turn on, it's him looking like a toy, and I'm like, bro, you look horrible in real life. Like, nothing like
that's funny.
Video. Yeah. So he immediately laughed, and it was just like, it was buddy after that.
Cool.
We're just goofing, but
that's the best way to become friends with somebody is make fun of them right away.
Yeah.
Just they're gonna
find out
or
what
hate you,
kind of person they are right off the bat.
Exactly. That's what it is. You'll find out exactly who they are.
Yeah. If we can't make fun of each other, we
take
can't be
themselves
friends.
too seriously or not?
Yeah, that's fair.
Dude.
But his team's reached out to me. His team and Puma on the app. They've both reached out to do some jobs coming up. So it could be
that's cool.
Could be good. It could be nothing. It's hard to work with these big companies because they're like, hey, are you interested? And then it's ghost for months, and then they're like, okay, hey, we're ready. You got 1 week.
Yeah.
It's like
I did the same thing with John Deere. I made a John Deere Florida flag.
That's way cooler than ASAP.
It's not cool. But
That's wild.
I was told there was going to be more out of it, and it was the ghost.
So you're
haven't heard nothing.
And then
hopefully,
well, I just had New Balance reach out to me,
sick.
And I'm like, back when I was doing dad jokes, New Balance shoes would have been perfect. The navy blue and white. I'm like, New Balance all the way. But I'm like, now I do all the Florida stuff and I dress like Florida style stuff. So I'm like, I don't know where I would incorporate. I don't do workout videos or anything, but I'm like,
dude, New Balance is so Florida.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. Like I've been thinking about it. The random people that reach out to you and want to do things is just crazy. It's just like once you start getting going with things, people reach out to you like you probably never thought you were going to do anything with ASAP Rocky.
Never, I guess. Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Like we had Sharon Stone, like one of our posts, and like
that's crazy.
And like random, and Darius Rucker, and the one guy from Jackass, and just the most
which
random
one? Because I had one too.
It's the fat guy. No offense to the fat guy, but the guy that wears diapers all the time. Preston. Yes.
Your soldier Preston.
Yeah, like I just see the check marks. I like to look at the check marks because those are like the official people. Some people only have like 300 followers and somehow have a check mark or whatever.
Some people have 3 followers and they'll pay for the check mark.
Yeah. So it's like when I see it, I like to see who these people are. And I saw the name Sharon Stone pop up and I was like, I know that friggin' name. But then after Sharon Stone liked it, then it was like Darius Rucker, then Preston, and like random names. And all of a sudden it's like I kind of hit this different niche of people.
Heck yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of the same thing. I'm like, well, now all of a sudden I'm like kind of like getting in this different crowd and I'm like, well, what the heck? And it's like, then this production company reaches out. I'm like, I would love to do acting, but I've always dreamed of being on a film set, like specifically Back to the Future. Could you imagine filming that whole series of movies? Like you're in the 1800s, you're in the 50s, you're in the future, which is now the past. That's
time travel.
But
I love.
That's cool.
But imagine being an actor on that set. You get to play every role, like Old West all the way up to future. I mean, that had to have been so fun.
Yeah.
And ever since I was a kid, I've always dreamed of being like a TV commercial actor. Like I know that I'm never going to be like a Tom Cruise, that kind of actor, but I would love to be like a extra or like a child actor, something like that. But I don't know. It's like, I think that would be my dream, to be some kind of actor. So if anybody's listening to this, I would love to be in TV commercials or.
Bro, do it.
I know.
Pursue it in every way.
I would just love to be like a part of that where you read one line and they're like cut or whatever. And like, I think that'd just be so fun, especially like watching the editing process, like with the podcasts or the videos that I do and all that. Seeing the end result when it's all edited, when you know that all I recorded was this part here, that part there. And when you see it all put together at the end, it's a really cool feeling.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of where I think it'd be a lot of fun.
We're going to give you a scene right now.
Okay.
You go to the doctor and he gives you some bad news. You have testicular cancer. Go.
But what about my cycling career?
Wow. Okay. Hired. On the spot.
Take all your medals away.
Oh man.
Nice.
Wow.
Ooh, that felt good. That felt really good.
Yeah.
I would say chop them off and cast them in bronze. Is what I would have said. Chop them off and cast them in bronze.
Wear them as a chain.
Wear them on the drum, wear them on my neck.
Let me say.
Or
I would wear that.
On my trailer.
Yeah,
hitch.
on the back of the, put them on the back of the truck.
Back of the
You wear
truck.
so much bronze balls on your neck.
Who said bronze?
Oh, gold.
I'm going straight gold if I'm doing it.
Platinum.
Yeah. Do you want to win one of my handmade Florida flags? I'm JD, founder and owner of FLOrigins. Check out FLOrigins.com for all of our art apparel and accessories. For every $3 you spend is equal to 1 entry to winning one of our handmade Florida flags. Why are you still here? Go to FLOrigins.com.
We've been talking a lot about your art
Yeah.
and everything, but you've done like pranks and some like
bit.
video stuff. And one of your more famous ones is with a loofah in the villages. Or
Do you guys know what the loofah sponge means in the villages?
No.
I know a lot of
There's
people
certain
know, but a lot of
colors.
people don't. So
Please explain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Explain
so
what it
there's a community called the Villages in Central Florida. It's a retirement facility. It's one of the biggest ones in the country, and it is very known for being the capital of STDs. So they love the playing with each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have a way of communicating and communicating through loofah sponges of all things. Kind of like the upside down pineapple swinger type thing, but each color loofah represents a different type of kink, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And then they put these loofahs on their golf carts or their cars. Anyway, so the Villages has a giant billboard on the side of the road, and I make oversized pop culture sculptures, and I'm like, that's very pop culture, at least in Florida. So I made a giant loofah sponge, drove up to the Villages, and I hung it up.
there?
Yeah.
What color was it?
Blue. So
Was that-
down and dirty for anything.
Oh,
There you
man.
go.
Wow.
Round
So
shape.
The Villages, that's basically the
This
Villages.
conversation particularly makes me happy because I posted a post about the Villages not too long ago.
Yeah.
And this lady went nuts in the comments. Like, that is not what we're known for. I don't know where you're coming up with this information. And she was like replying to like everybody's comments. Like, this isn't funny. I moved here. I'm retired. This
She's
isn't happening.
gaslighting.
And she
Yeah.
was like, I'm like, I get it that you moved there and you probably don't get invited to a lot of parties or maybe you got the wrong colored loofah, whatever it is. But like, she obviously had a major problem with me talking about the villages, and she was trying to straight up deny like that doesn't happen here. And I'm like, it's made national news for for being known for that.
100%.
And I'm like, I'm sorry that you didn't do your research before you bought a house in the villages. Like, it sounds like a great place to retire, and maybe it is if that's your thing. But like, it was just the funniest thing watching her. Like notifications pop up that she was replying to multiple people's comments defending the villages as like not this place where it's known for that.
She's probably the main person.
Yeah. And then one guy like replied to her comment with this color equals this, blue equals blue, red equals. And he like literally, he's like, this is on the third search on Google. He goes, it was the third link down when I searched the villages. He goes, I didn't search the villages swingers. He goes, I just searched the villages. And the third link was the color code. Wow. And he goes, this is just me on a simple Google search. And he like totally blew her out of the water or whatever.
They have Loofah bingo up there.
Yeah. I know.
It's not a thing.
So I asked, we'll show the clip of him hanging it on the billboard.
We're playing it, yeah.
I think it's when you go 75 North.
Yeah.
It's on the right-hand side.
Yeah,
Did you leave it up there?
Oh, yeah.
And how long did it stay up there?
Like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, crazy. Because it was on private property. So like someone had to complain to the villages who had to find out who owns that billboard, like leasing the billboard. Then they had to go through the billboard company who had to go through the person that owns the property. So they probably responded very quickly, but it took them weeks to get into it. But all I did is there's a ditch. I had to jump over a ditch, climb over barbed wire, and then dodge the cow poop because it's a cow field.
Yeah.
And then
figure out how to get on it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That should just be on the billboard to begin with. Like that kind of seems like it should be part of it.
They just market that for sure.
Maybe start with like I watch from the corner color first, just to warm people up to the idea.
Yeah.
You know, get
soft
that
swap type of stuff.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to go full on blue on the billboard necessarily, but you know,
maybe I went too hard. It would if I did like pink, it might have been up there months.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
For the newcomers.
Yeah.
Like more of a welcome. This is the color you're gonna want when you first get here.
You went straight down and dirty.
Legs in the air.
Full like. Yeah.
Go in, man, all the way.
I think I saw something recently too where the villages also had the highest percentage of golf cart crashes in Florida.
Dude, they have like golf cart roads.
I know.
When I drove through there one time, I was like, there's got a road next to a road, and it's all like these tricked out golf carts.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It is cool.
Like I would definitely trick out a golf cart.
They have dope car shows.
Yeah, I bet.
And strip clubs. Can you imagine just 80-year-old
just rolling up on the golf course? Yeah.
like slapping.
You have like a sense of humor sometimes that's like, I don't know if you're joking or serious.
I'm never joking. I'm always serious.
There it is. There it is again. It's like I believe you.
Yeah, it's very dry.
It's
Sorry,
good.
man.
I love it.
Well,
I'm gullible.
But I do want to put a giant pineapple. I want to do a giant pineapple up on the billboard, but upside down for swingers. Yeah.
You should find a way to make it where at different times of the day it turns upright and then flips over and then flips back up.
Sick.
And like at 5 o'clock, it just flips back upside down.
It's
and
on a rotating timer.
So when you're at work, you got to put it right side up, get some work done. And then at 5 o'clock rolls around and it just.
It's 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Creative.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
The fact that I didn't get in trouble for the first one, I'm like, am I risking? Yeah. Like, should I put the pineapple? I might get in trouble this time.
Yeah.
I got away with the first time. They could come after me. I don't know. Like for the loofah, enough time's gone by, but I don't know.
You posted it on your social media.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they were going to get you, they would have came and got you by now.
We waited a week to post it, and other people were posting, and their videos went viral, and then our video.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Which is fine. I mean, I do it for me. I don't really do it for clout or anything, but it would have been kind of cool to have a viral video.
Well, yeah, especially if you're monetized and you know you get that viral, you get jumped in that viral side of things. That's a real good feeling.
Yeah, I try to do the monetized thing with my art TikTok. TikTok's doing better. I wish I didn't. I never did it. It destroyed my TikTok.
Yeah, my TikTok is useless.
Terrible.
I get like 300-400 views on my video. I got 65,000 followers on TikTok, and I get like 300 or 400, maybe 700 views on a video. Crazy. Ever since I did the monetizing thing, it was like they're just like, oh, well, now that we're paying you, we're not going to promote your stuff anymore. And it's like, well, what the heck, man? Like, but then you can't back out of it.
You cannot back out.
Once you sign up for it, you're stuck with it. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
What would be really cool is like, you know how you do the 6 foot spray paint cans? Like, that'd be cool if you could get like sponsored or something by like the actual like company or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, hey, make this. That'd be really cool.
I've reached out to a couple different of the
cry
manufacturers and I was like, hey, like, can we do at least a collaboration? You don't have to contribute anything, but just like throw me on your page. But for whatever reason, they're never made it. Yeah. It's hard to get sponsors. Yeah. You got to have the big following. You got to have followers for them to be like,
take you seriously.
Or you fit in this niche perfectly. Yeah. And then the sponsor of the company's like, they're perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, that's where I wear all FLOrigins stuff because he actually gave me a shot before I had a huge following.
Yeah.
And now I'm like committed. I'm like I got I got other Florida clothing companies coming to me all the time. I'm like I'm owned.
I'm taking seats taken.
I belong to FLOrigins now.
What number?
You get a FLOrigins ring.
I get a FLOrigins wedding ring.
Is there a number though that you'd be like, all right, I'm listening?
I'd have to talk about it with the owner and the CEO of FLOrigins.
Yeah. What about Salt Life? Have you looked into that?
Salt Life to me does not represent Florida.
Okay.
It's for the person from Michigan who moved here to Florida, and the only salt they know is salting the roads in the wintertime. Because like Salt Life,
that's a good one.
When Salt Life first came around, it seemed like to me like it fully represented Florida. I had some Salt Life stuff, things like that, but then it's like snowbird season. I would see more Salt Life stuff everywhere than I saw,
weird
during the summertime. And I started noticing it was like out of state plates with Salt Life, out of state, all this stuff.
It makes sense.
Or you see like the disguised Florida vehicles with the Florida plate with the Salt Life sticker.
Makes total sense.
And all that kind of stuff.
If you live here, you're not going to be like, Salt Life. We literally live it. Why would we?
I am the Salt Life. Like I am Salt
Northern
Life.
people coming down like, I'm Salt Life. Like,
I'm sure someone's gonna get mad at me for saying that, but that's to me when I see Salt Life now, I'm like, you are not from here. And same thing with those endless summer license plates.
Yeah.
To someone who's born and raised in Florida, endless summer sounds
terrible.
It sounds horrible. But like you see a Jeep with an endless summer license plate, and they got the rubber ducks freaking lined up all across the dashboard with their Salt Life stickers. I'm like, what part of Ohio are you from? Like,
very like cringy people.
And it's like, so like the people, and it's funny, like the people move to Florida and they want to look and dress and act like, oh, this is what Floridians wear.
Fit in.
Yeah. And like someone I know came here and they bought like a Tommy Bahama shirt and like those kind of like, whatever, the canvas pants that look like karate pants that like the older guys wear.
What you're describing.
He's like, this is what Floridians wear, and I'm like,
hell yeah,
that's not what Floridians wear.
Yeah,
and
it reminds me of Post Malone going country.
It was like the most,
but I love Post Malone, so don't get me wrong. Like,
but his country stuff is good.
I love it.
He's got some good country stuff.
But it's funny. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but it's like you see that this is what Floridians dress like, and it's kind of like that's how I know you're not from here. Yeah. I'm like, because this is what we just wear regular clothes. I mean, granted, if I go to the beach or whatever, I'll wear beach stuff. But it's funny when you see people like go somewhere to try to fit in and, just dress like whatever the locals are.
See, Florida has a lot of different looks. Like you're from Florida and you kind of got like a skater vibe guy thing, which is great. You're from Florida. We've all got our own slight different
we do
nuances. What we wear. And you can always tell when somebody comes down here and tries to blend in like camo.
Emulate it.
Yeah. You can tell you stand out like a sore thumb.
Or you got the people at the beach with the big giant like freaking
straw hats.
Not even straw hats. Those like the windbreaker material hats.
Oh yeah.
They got the long sleeve shirt, the pure white nose.
Yeah.
And like you'll see them out at the beach, and they have the whitest skin you've ever seen. It makes the sand look tan.
Yeah.
And it's like it's funny. Like it's like it's so easy to tell when people aren't from the area. And I'm sure this goes for anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Like if I show up in like New York dressed like with like FLOrigins stuff on or whatever, they're gonna be like, what the heck's this guy doing here or whatever. And it's like, so everywhere has their local style, and it's so obvious when someone's not from there, and it's just kind of funny, especially when they try to look like they're from the area. Like if I go to Texas and I get like cowboy boots and a giant belt buckle and a cowboy hat, and I go walking around, some guy's just wearing a Nike shirt in Starbucks, like, what's this freaking guy doing? That's kind of what it looks like to me. But
big Texan.
I love cowboy. Like I would wear boots all the time. I'd wear a cowboy hat, but I don't have anything to do with being a cowboy. Like I don't ride horses.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up ranching. I'm not a cowboy. I didn't grow up in like Texas or anything, but it's like, I love that. But it's like, I'm not going to dress like that because that's not me.
I will at like a wedding. I have at
a couple weddings.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I dress up,
I'll wear a bolo.
Yeah.
You're more qualified than us though. You live on a farm.
True. But it's also like, I'm not going to dress like that all the time because that's Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I wanted to be a cowboy. Like I was a sheriff and I did the whole cowboy thing, man. Anyways, sidebar.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're from Florida, most Floridians have jobs. Like you probably just wear that's got paint stains and stuff all over it most of the week, as I do. You're working outside, so you're not dressing as Florida. You're dressing to make fucking money,
right?
And survive and live. So the Florida look can be controversial.
Yeah,
it's very diverse.
Yeah, and the Florida look is also like, I'm just trying to get to my job site. We're not all on vacation.
Yeah.
So get out of my way. Let me get to my job site.
And not die from the heat. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's rough. I do irrigation, so that's I'm out there.
One of the things that we've really highlighted on our podcast and that we want to highlight on the podcast is how rural and country and open, like how wild Florida is. Like a lot of people come to Florida for vacation at the beach, and that's what they know Florida for: beaches, high-end homes, skaters. But they don't understand, like, you just go 10 miles east, and that's real Florida. Florida's wild.
It really is.
But it's everything. It's the water, but it's also inland. Like Florida is wild.
And that's what a majority of Florida is. Like you get this band of beaches around the outside, and you think that's everybody thinks that's Florida. Palm trees, beaches, neon lights, all this stuff. But it's like
so we're really highlighting.
Yeah, like the inland parts, like the ranching and the cattle and all the stuff that actually happens here that people don't even think of Florida.
So it's like a 3 mile crust all the way around the whole, and that's Florida. And the middle part is what?
Old Florida.
Old Florida, yeah.
And that's
been untouched.
Florida was the original cowboys. We had cowboys before Texas had cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the term Florida cracker comes from, is the cattle ranchers with the whips.
I think it was in the top whatever. It's, man, I wish I had the statistics with me, but it was out of all the states in the country, it was like top 5 for cattle. Cattle ranching.
It probably still is.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, it's obviously that's going away because of land being developed, but yeah, it's a lot of agriculture.
Yeah.
A lot of agriculture. And just like national park, state parks, just Everglades, the Ocala National Forest, like it's all connected. Yeah.
I had Conservation Florida reach out to me recently about donating some of my stuff to their benefits, and they contribute to that wildlife corridor where a bear can go from the Everglades all the way up to the North Florida, right through the center of the state. So I thought that was kind of cool. So there is a habitat for wildlife throughout the center of the state. It's kind of dodging and weaving and connecting, but it does connect through private land and agricultural land.
Right.
Well, I got a lot of crap on my Instagram because I just found out recently, like, I mean, I guess it's something I kind of knew, but like it just clicked in my head that we actually have bears here. And I mentioned it during one of the podcasts, and like so many people like, you freaking idiot. Everybody knows Florida's got bears. I'm like, not everybody knows that. Like I was born and raised here. I've never seen a bear in my life, but like, I was like, oh yeah, we got bears. And
Polar
it's like,
bears.
and the amount of people that like think because they grew up seeing bears their whole life, like you're an idiot because you don't see one. Yeah. The native Florida polar bear, most people don't know exists. Yeah. Because it actually doesn't.
I bet you Florida has the most invasive species also.
Yeah, I bet.
And I'm not just talking about the wildlife.
Yeah. The non-native snowbird.
Yeah.
The people that will buy a house right next to another house that looks like the same house.
Exactly.
And then complain about their neighbor's house.
Exactly.
Their lawns too.
Larry's over there on the toilet again. I can hear him and smell him and see him.
I hear their dog barking inside.
Yeah, another comment that got me in trouble too is I made a comment that said, if there was an invasion anywhere else in the world like what Florida is having, the military would get involved. Yeah. And man, that stirred up some crap. Like people did not like that comment or whatever.
I mean, you've seen it in your lifetime being here. Yeah. I mean, you've seen the mass injection of
it sucks,
Yankees, essentially. And
whoever.
I mean, I'm going to say Yankees, but it's California, Texas. They come from everywhere, and it all just funneled right down here, and we're losing land at a catastrophic rate to where we have to have wildlife corridors just to maintain the species that were here before. And it's sad. It's sad to see,
man.
Yeah, we are the species that was here before.
We are the species. Well, the Miccosukee Indians down the Everglades were here before any of us were here, but they were driven down here. They were driven down here by the white man because they were originally from, I think it was like Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. They were driven down here from that part of the world. So they've been down here since 1800s. And they were forced all the way down to the Everglades because it's an inhabitable part of Florida.
Yeah.
And they're still down there, still doing what they can.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are the true inhabitants. It would be, even before them, it would have been like the Calusa, you know, the Native Americans, the indigenous Americans that were here, the tribal Americans that were here. Well, we was Americans. The native indigenous peoples is what the real term is. They were here before any white guy was here. It seems like when white people show up, they everything up. Seriously, we came.
Guilty.
Okay, exactly. I mean, well, I'm throwing us all under the
And
bus
look
here.
what white people did to this room.
No, I'm talking about throwing us under the bus. Wait, think about it, like Columbus shows up. You know, he spreads this European disease to everywhere they go, and it's sad. It's sad because we are I'm going to say this, but from what I've understood, my wife went on Ancestry and we did this very deep dive search, and I am a direct descendant of Francis Cook, who originally came over on the Mayflower. How fucking white is that?
I knew it.
I was running exactly. So my great grandfathers, I was on my mom's side. My mom's father went all the way back. So Francis Cook had a son named John Cook who married another daughter, a guy's daughter on the ship, and that's where I came from.
Wow.
But they were running from religious persecution over from England. But they get over here and they everything up. The Indians are like, "What are you doing on my? What are you doing on my property?" kind of thing. So that's kind of what I get. What I mean by white people show up, they mess everything up.
My ancestry came back. I'm completely Irish, Scottish, and Norwegian. So Viking blood all the way. And luckily they're not known for ever doing anything bad. So I got nothing to worry about with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the Vikings discovered northern part of North America before Columbus did.
We just didn't want it.
Yeah. Did you hear about that?
No.
So it was like it would have been like up in like
they got like survey
Canada,
stones. They surveyed and studied these cornerstones on the land where they surveyed.
And like all the way up into Canada, like Nova Scotia area, well before Columbus had discovered it, there was remnants of Viking inhabitants in the northern part of Canada, which is technically North America.
And it runs through
North
like
America.
Minnesota and stuff too.
Yeah, it comes all the way down to like Maine, down into that area. So, but we didn't learn that in history in elementary school. If you notice, a lot of this that we learned in elementary school and middle school and high school it's had to be modified since then.
We're gonna have to make sure that I keep my mouth shut because we're gonna start a whole new podcast on this topic.
Yeah, let's not go
there's
down
megaliths in every single continent that look the same and built the same and are facing the moon and this. Yeah, we can go real deep into some crazy stuff.
I watch Ancient Aliens and I firmly believe in a lot of the stuff they say. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
Okay, so it's when you watch it and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it sucks.
It makes sense.
Yeah, no, that sucks. It's like, I don't want to think. Just government, tell me what to say. What to think.
That show will kind of open up your mind to certain concepts and beliefs of like there were ancient people on Earth that had technology, and they were all building similar structures. They were all witnessing things come down from the sky, either be what they described as an angel or a prophet. It was all fucking aliens. Just everybody had their own. They had their own view of what it looked like. But when you look at how they, etch it into the walls, it was all very similar.
Sure, yeah.
The Birdman down in South America is very similar to the Birdman over in Turkey.
The Thunderbird.
So let me ask you: is the pyramid a generator or is it a tomb?
Oh man,
have you heard about the generator theory?
Oh yeah,
I have.
Oh, 100%.
It's insane. It's so like it's more that than it is a tomb.
The evidence is more pointed to our energy source.
Yeah.
Yes, because of the way it was facing and the material that was made out of quartz. Precision.
I have so much to say.
So the way it was facing, the material was made out of. I think that they believed in something that if they put their bodies there, obviously they were going to be reincarnated for the gods or whatever. But I don't know. That's a good one. I feel like there's something behind it. I know he's over there itching to say
Aaron
something.
Knows.
Aaron, would you speak on the topic?
I got something else to say, but let's hear what you guys say about it.
It was a generator.
It has to be.
It's got to be.
Hey, but what if
I've spent like probably 3 days worth of hours learning about the pyramids.
Only 3 days, bro.
Probably more if I'm being honest, but my screen time history would probably lie and tell the truth about that. But yeah, it goes all the way back to free energy, the energy in the air, the ether. It goes back to before Edison supposedly invented electricity. He found a way to charge money for electricity is what he did. Yeah. Energy was everywhere. You can still get energy in the air. It's in the ether. It's in the air.
You can collect it. Yeah.
And they figured it out way back before we did.
Yeah.
And I can only see the comments now, but
you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So what if we were to use all the oil that we have, right? Think about everything that oil contributes to the society there, right? Even down to the road, the streets is made out of actual oil. I don't know if people know that, but there's actual oil in the street, obviously plastic, and fill in the blank with everything that oil can do. Once we use that oil up, 100,000 years later, if we go to start talking about oil again, people are gonna be like, what is it? It's a brown substance that it's a magic liquid. We couldn't even comprehend that type of technology. What if there was an element back in however many, a long time ago, ancient, what if there was an element that they had that they could actually like make something levitate by taking the steroid or whatever? It could have been a plant, they took, and they're super strong. They turn into the Hulk or something. I don't know, fill in the blank, but like there could be elements that are no longer on the earth that used to be, that took technology and went in that direction.
That's why they can't figure out levitation. They're trying to recreate something that maybe used to be here that's not here anymore.
We can't go in that direction. So we go in this direction and it's a total polar opposite. We physically can't even think.
If there wasn't a way of mass communication 3 to 10,000 years ago, then why were all the civilizations on Earth building similar style buildings and all looking to the skies for answers?
Yeah.
Just Google the word Tartarian Empire. You Google the word Tartarian Empire, you'll find everything you need to know. Yeah. Tartarian Empire.
That was a rhetorical question, by the way. I'm just
answering all of it with one word.
There you go.
Pop-Tart.
Yeah, I've heard they utilize sound to like move things, like heavy things. There's a place, I will have to put it.
It's in Florida.
In Florida.
It is
it's
in
like
Florida.
the coral something. This person
Coral Castle.
Coral Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He built that with no one knowing how he built it.
Yeah.
And people, I think there was a story where kids would like try to film him doing something, and he
or
like
just watch through the bushes, and he would just know and stop.
He used some type of like, I don't know, like tripod with some type of like energy source thing. It's only speculation.
Yeah,
no one knows.
No one actually knows.
But he literally built things that are impossible.
Yeah. Have you guys gone?
No, I need to go.
You should look that up and like go
Coral
check it
Castle.
out.
Yeah, we'll have to go.
I don't know if you can even
do
visit.
I
don't know.
I know you could. When I looked it up, you could do tours.
And he did it solo. His wife didn't even know how he built this place.
Yeah. Like there's like a door that hinges in the middle or something, and it's like perfectly balanced, and you're like, and these things are like tons.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds, and you can push it open with your hand.
It's freaking nuts.
And it's old too. Like I don't know when he built it, but like even to this day,
I think it's in the 1900s.
Maybe 1900s
or 18. Maybe it was 18.
So thousands of years ago.
Yeah, it was like ancient, like 10,000 years ago he built this thing. No, but I think it was this era. Like, I think that was in the 19th century.
Crazy, yeah.
But it was in the early 1900s.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was
down
south.
Videos and photos.
I think it was down south. I watched something on TV about it. And it was made out of like coral, like limestone type of material he harvested right out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to go there. FloBro adventure trip.
Yeah.
FloBro road trip.
So let me ask for everybody who sees all this stuff on the wall, how long did it take you to accumulate all these old boom boxes, man? So cool.
Early 2000s.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe
20 years, 25 years.
The one right over your shoulder, that gray one, that's my first. So my wife, we were dating from middle school, and in high school, she bought me that one from Goodwill for like $10. And then she knew I always wanted them, and it just went from there.
Wow.
So how do you find them now? I mean, you can't go to Goodwill and get stuff like that anymore, can you?
I'm not going to tell anyone how I find them. I don't want people going and getting my plug.
Yeah.
Basically, it's garage sales and eBay. eBay is probably the number one spot for picking them up. But before, I could buy them for $20, no problem. A $20 boombox 8 years ago is probably worth like 300.
Wow.
So yeah, they skyrocketed in price.
So we're
You can't
looking
believe
at
it.
like freaking 15K right here. 20,000 maybe you could sell it all for. I'm just kidding.
No, we
just
were
throwing
just
it
talking about this. Yeah, this
Okay.
is that's probably realistically 20,000. I would not sell it for 20,000 at all. No, I wouldn't let it
this
go.
is like it's
It's
sentimental.
absolutely, yeah. It's like if you
It's
know,
like your adult life's work, like
Yeah,
your collection.
yeah,
You
He's
spent
been
20,
so
25
long.
years collecting them. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be
you know,
able to
like we all have that one thing. Like if there was a house fire, you run in and you grab like the photo album. It's mine.
You're
is,
ripping this,
Yeah.
this stuff up and
Yeah.
grabbing them. Yeah,
It takes a long time to move. You don't think about it, but like just moving
you can
from the house to here, it took me like a whole day just walking back and forth.
carrying two
Oh, I
at a
can
time.
imagine.
It takes forever.
Dude,
yeah.
does that one have a piano on it?
It does. That's actually an original system they would use for doing like making music. What are you like a MIDI controller? That's a MIDI controller.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Wow.
Old school. You can record right onto the
You renovated that one, like you took it
Yeah.
apart. I think I saw a video of you taking that apart and painting it and cleaning
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. The internet tried to rip me apart. They're like, you destroyed it, you ruined it, blah, blah, blah. Why would you paint it? I'm like, well, you did see what it looked like before, right? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, what could I have done differently? And they're like, well, yeah, I guess it looks pretty good.
It does.
Immediately changed their tone.
Yeah. Yeah. People are quick to judge before knowing the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have a. Oh, no,
Yep.
you go.
Well, I was gonna say that you do have a thing for classics, and I was gonna redirect the convo to the three classic vehicles you got out back there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those.
Yeah.
So cool.
Just
So
their
cool.
cars. Just classics.
64 Chevy Impala Super Sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Low rider.
It's the one, when you look at rap videos, that's the most
that's the
iconic.
one.
What they rap about it. It's the most sung about
Cruising
car.
down the street in my 6'4".
And then you got a 57 Chevy Bel Air. And what's the color of it?
It's called Dusk Rose.
Dusk Rose. It's got the original. It's all. I mean, it's
She's a
OG.
hot girl.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful car.
She's hot,
White
yeah.
walls on it and everything. And then it's early or late 60s Caddy.
Yeah, like mid to late '60s Cadillac. I think it's a Coupe de Ville. It doesn't have. It just says Cadillac. So
It's a tank.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's back when they were like the size of boats.
Yeah.
It's a big car.
It's like
Yeah.
all metal.
Yeah.
Frame.
that's cool.
Yeah, and let's talk about that 1994 Cadillac DeVille you got in the driveway out there.
Well, he's also
the
got.
blue
You
one?
also have.
The one that came
pride
out
and
when I was
joy.
9 years old.
Yeah,
Well, you also have. What year is that Impala? That
it's
newer
a
one?
'94 Impala.
94
Yeah.
Impala SS.
Yeah.
I remember when those came out. Those were so
All
cool.
black.
They
No.
really were,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, and to this day, they're one of the most respected cars
Absolutely.
in the car community. Any car guy that knows anything about cars, if you pull up next to them, they're gonna be like, they know that is a very
Yeah.
respected car.
And they only made those from like 94 to 96.
Yeah, they'd spent
correct?
them a few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And they have 3 color waves as long as you like black.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
like their
I don't think
soul.
I've ever seen one besides black. It's
They
all
got
black.
like a foam, kind of a dark foam green color that
Yep.
they came out in.
And
they
then
had
a
burgundy,
maroon.
right?
Yeah, burgundy.
Maroon,
Yep.
whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
yeah,
Yeah.
same. Yeah,
I've only ever seen the black one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those got a Corvette motor in them.
yeah,
Is it?
LS motor. Yeah, yeah.
Very
So
cool.
they're fast for back in the day, but the cars now,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the Hellcats on, that
yeah.
wouldn't keep
Yeah.
up with nothing nowadays.
Oh, I know it. I saw an episode, I think it was either Top Gear or Grand Tour, those British car guys or whatever. They did a Testarossa versus a Countach on a track. And they compared it to like a Honda Civic from modern days. And it was like, they were just crawling around the
Horrible,
track.
right?
It was like, they were not made for handling or performance. They just
Yeah.
were big motor on a little car. And that was it. But it's just funny, like technology as far as even cars go, because those were like the hottest cars you can buy. Like back then,
Oh,
you wear
I'd
your white
still
suit
want
with your
one.
Countach. Oh yeah. I'd
like
take
the
a
Dumb and
Countach.
Dumber red.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I would love to have a white Countach with a big wing on the back and everything.
A white
like
one?
A white one.
They
Yeah.
had
that
one.
red.
They had one on the Barrett.
I'm thinking like Miami
They had
Vice.
one on Mecum yesterday on TV, and it was a white Countach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I
It was a
want like, I
private
want like a
collection.
light teal interior with a white body, like something really like vintage looking like that. Like not vintage, I guess.
Yeah.
Retro maybe would be a better word for it. But
Yeah.
that
Okay,
look.
so we're all from the same era. Do you guys remember that Chevrolet came out with it was a pace car. It was something you could buy, but it looked like Dale Earnhardt's car.
Oh,
It was the
yeah,
Intimidator. Do you remember? It was a Chevrolet.
There was a Monte Carlo, I
It
think.
was a Monte
Yeah,
Carlo,
Monte Carlo,
but it
yeah.
looked just like
It was like the body of the
it was
Chevy
a-
Lumina, but it was it was a
Yeah,
Monte Carlo
Monte Carlo,
version.
yeah.
Yeah.
occasion-
SS. It was an SS.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think you've seen. I think they they had the Dale Earnhardt one, and then I think they even had a Dale Earnhardt Jr. one that was red with Budweiser.
Sick.
But they had the Goodrich black one.
Yep. Yes,
really
sir.
cool.
Do it for Dale.
Yeah.
Dude, did it have Budweiser advertisement on the car itself?
I can't remember. I
so
could be
freaking
mistaken
sick.
about the Dale Earnhardt Jr. one, but I do remember the Dale Earnhardt one. Man. But I had a Dale Earnhardt Jr. Budweiser jacket 20 years ago.
I bet you did.
Yeah, I did. Redneck guy.
Right next to the Marlboro one in middle school.
But if you were to wear that now to the club, you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I should have never
Is
got
that
rid
funny
of
how
it.
that
big
happens?
money.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, vintage apparel, man, it's hot.
I wanted to bring it back. I think we're gonna have to wrap up soon because of Aaron, but I wanted to bring it back. No, you're good. We gotta stop eventually.
We gotta stop talking
Yeah.
at some point.
I did want to bring it back to your art. When you decided to go full time art, I know it was a couple years ago, or no, this year.
No, this year.
This year.
January, yeah.
What was kind of the first art piece that you really put your effort into being like, this is what I'm, jumping into to start?
SpongeBob ice creams. The
Okay.
middle size is like 30-inch tall.
Okay. So not the big one that's up on the wall.
No,
It
that
the
was
smaller one.
yeah. I don't know why I went that big because most of my art is all about not the same size, but same what you were saying, like scale proportion.
Yeah.
So like a 60-foot tall human, if they were to be holding something,
Yeah.
that's the something I try to make.
Yeah.
So
When giants start ruling the world again,
again,
they'll come to you
Yeah.
again.
specifically.
They'll come and be like, oh, perfect. He's got the stuff for me.
what I like.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
He'll
Yeah.
fit right in.
Yeah.
I like
No,
on
that's
the
cool.
SpongeBob ice cream how you made the eyeballs sagging and
Yeah,
everything.
dude,
Because
Because
they're always
it's-
screwed
yeah.
up.
They
Because-
always seem like they were previously melted and then refrozen.
Well,
Yeah.
in Florida, you get it. It instantly starts melting
no.
anyways. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's iconic. It reminds
Yeah,
me
you
of
go to Disney
childhood
World,
right
you get the
away.
Mickey Mouse one, and then the ears start
Yeah.
flopping
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. It was
It's
just
funny.
summer heat.
I took a picture of JD next to that big one you got. We'll show it up real quick, but
Yeah.
that thing was
Yeah.
way bigger than I thought. Like the
That thing's
larger
like
one that
8
you
feet
have.
tall.
Thing's huge.
If you put it
the
on the
big
ground,
SpongeBob.
the
Yeah,
Yeah,
the big
right?
SpongeBob. I think it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
giant.
it's like about 8 foot, something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's wild.
I made him stand next to it for reference because when you're looking at it, it doesn't look that
Yeah.
big because you're just looking at a popsicle or whatever. But I'm like, go stand next to that freaking thing. It's
Yeah.
giant.
Yeah.
And then you did the Rock'em Sock'em robot, the red one.
Yeah.
And I
That's
like the aluminum spray cans that you did. I noticed you got one in there that's wood.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of just
Wood
the inside. Is that
crushed.
what it looks like on the inside? Is that how you do the inside of it before you put the steel around it?
No. No. So the wood one is solid wood all the way through. The metal ones are different. One might be fiberglass. I think I made one that's fiberglass, and then another one's aluminum.
Very cool. You crushed it in. You put the two different price stickers on there,
Yeah.
over each other, and looked like it was peeled
Yeah,
off. Like
yeah.
the detail to that alone was just like
On the one Instagram
On
reel
point.
I shared in my story today, which isn't relevant to the podcast, but it's laying there on the ground and it just looks like a spray paint can. Then you walk up and you like smack on it and it's like, holy
yeah.
crap, that thing's giant. But it looks
Yeah.
like a dirty, crinkled in
just a
can.
smaller, yeah.
But then
And
you
then
smack
those-
it, it's like
yeah.
And
giant.
those blow pops that you got out, those are so. I mean, I remember those as a kid. It had
I know.
that hard ass bubble gum on the inside.
Yeah.
You'd only chew it for 5 minutes. You have to spit it out.
Yeah.
But then if they did the blue raspberry one would turn your mouth blue.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I
Do
took
you
a picture next to the Impala with one of those giant blow pops just because people won't understand what's going
Yeah.
on. There's a
Yeah.
64 Impala
Just
lowrider and a big blow
nonsense.
pop, and I had
what
to
I
get a
like.
picture with
Gwak,
it because I'm like,
baby.
people are gonna be
It's
like, what the
brand.
heck happened
It's
here?
It's like a fever dream. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, what the hell
Yeah, I
is
didn't have too much
happening
medicine
here?
before
yeah.
bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Your art, when you're on social media, so you're posting
bit.
a lot of your pieces or like what's going on
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And you'll show like what you're building and what you've built, and you'll show things. But until you see it up close and personal, there's so much detail and like things that you're not gonna be able to see just on a video. Like you have to experience it. Are you able to display and put on shows? Like, are you like, I know that's something you've been wanting to do. Like, where can
Yeah.
people, like, they'll obviously follow you on social media, but like, that's a dream race for you to display and to sell
Yeah.
your art.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So my goal with my career right now is to do traveling art shows across the country because that's where people are able to see it. So if people in Kentucky, they're never going to fly to my hometown to come look at my art. So I'm like, I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
So my goal is to just try to make as many connections across the country and make a circuit so I can just kind of hit the whole country and bring new forms of art, but I also want to bring other artists along with me. I want to actually broadcast the whole thing. I want to try to get a Winnebago that's outfitted with cameras, audio equipment, and then pick up artists along the way, pick up their art, go set it up, do an art show, and then broadcast all of it. So I have plans of making some like major moves with the art stuff, but it either takes a crazy amount of money or a crazy amount of connections, and both don't have them right now. So
I think what you really have going for you though is like the elder millennial and the Gen X crowd are big into nostalgic stuff.
For sure.
Big time into nostalgia.
It's an easy market.
And it's like your level of involvement with social media combined with the type of art you do, I think is like the perfect marriage of the two, because like
awesome.
You're exposing the right content, the right products, the right content to the right people. I think that's one thing that really stood out to me, is because like when Blake sent me like your original, like your Instagram, when I first started looking at it, I got absorbed. I mean, every bit of what you make, I'm like, that was my childhood. That's everything. And I'm like, I know I'm not the only one that geeks out over stuff like that. So like when I saw a giant Nintendo gun and stuff like that, I'm like, I mean, my mind was blown. And it's like, I think, and I think that's what's really going to do great for you, is the fact that our generation, like late 30s, early 40s are the number one crowd right now that are big into that 90s nostalgic stuff. And I think it's the perfect time for what you're doing. And obviously you'll evolve as time goes on, but it's just, it's really cool to see that you have a niche during the time when that niche is booming. Yeah. And I think that's going to do really good for you.
Ride the wave. Right. Yeah. I just happened to stumble upon, I'm like, I'm going to make the stuff I want to make. And it just happens to be my childhood stuff. So I want to get weird with it though. Like I don't even know what that means.
You've totally kept it completely normal up to this point. So you're going to cross into that weird world.
I mean, the Furby I made, it's a Furby, the spray can's a spray can, but I want to get funky with it and do, but that is a style and I have to figure out that style. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
I just had an idea now. Just hear it out. So you got that big zapper gun. If you made a big NES cartridge that was the Zelda, but the gold one, you remember the gold Zelda game? Yep. It was, the plastic was gold. Have you ever thought about doing that?
I have it written down.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. I have that one, Duck Hunt, and like 5 other.
But the Zelda one was iconic because it was a gold. It was about the only cartridge you could get that wasn't gray.
Yep.
Yeah, I just thought, I was like, what else can he make NES version? Like gold Zelda.
I literally have it written down.
Or take the electronic.
It'd be like this size, but the size of this. Yeah. Something huge.
Close,
Take the electronic guts out of an actual Duck Hunt gun and mount them in the big gun.
Yeah, that was an option. I was trying to get the trigger click.
That's got to be tricky.
You know exactly. It's like it's a pull and then ka.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
And the side of the trigger would get the scrapes. It would get the scrapes because it would rub against the plastic.
Which will come in time. I made the triggers work on those guns, but it doesn't have that click. So in time, that wear will happen. On it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You've got some really impressive stuff here. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Great podcast.
And having us.
Thanks for having us here.
Welcome.
I mean, you got some fantastic stuff here. I'm just we're all on a dope high right now.
We're gonna crash hard when we leave.
We're
gonna crash real hard. We're gonna go back to our boring farmhouse look vibe.
Honey, we need to paint the living room pink.
I do. I love how you have it spread out. I mean, you kind of just gradient the colors all the way around. It's like bubblegum over there, all the way over to teal.
No, so for real. Like we're shouting you out. Like we want if you're watching this podcast and you want to buy his art, the freaking link is in the description. Like you want to come stay at the Airbnb. I don't know where the camera is. Oh, over here. And if you want to stay at the Airbnb, like everything's here. Like freaking support Gwak. He's got good stuff going on. It's freaking awesome. Come and experience it. It is. You won't regret coming to this place, dude. It's freaking cool.
Thanks,
man. For sure. Yeah, dude.
So how can people get a hold of you?
Gwak Productions is pretty much my handle for everything and my website.
The website.
Hey, why don't we do a giveaway? We can do a lollipop giveaway. Is there some sort of giveaway, you guys?
Oh, snap.
I like it. What do you have in mind?
What if we did like, I'll give a lollipop away to whoever has like the best idea for the next art project that I can create.
I like it.
Yeah, so people can comment.
So a Gwak pop that looks like, what's the
like a blow pop?
It's a blow pop.
They're blow pops. I call them Gwak pops.
Gwak pop. Yeah, so a blow pop for the best comment. Now it's $200 value. They're back.
Yeah.
you're gonna want one of these things.
You got to be following the FloBro Show, and you got to be following Gwak on
Yes.
Oh, I'll take
Instagram
it.
and
That's fair.
and TikTok. So you got to be following all of us,
And we will check.
and then you'll comment your best idea for Gwak to make
So
something.
just so
We'll pick
everyone
from
knows,
there.
it's like pop culture is a big thing for me, and then nostalgic. So whoever has like something that I haven't already created, right? Yeah.
Love
I like
it.
it.
I'm interested to
what
read some
happens.
of these comments.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
I like it.
Yeah. You never know where inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
Could be this person.
Yeah, like we just found out we're doing a giveaway right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
Very kind of Joel to do that.
Yeah,
so
no
you
kidding.
guys
Yeah.
get on the comments and come up with some great stuff. Whoever has the best commented that gets hearted,
yeah, that gets liked.
that gets liked.
Most
Yeah,
likes
the most likes on whatever comments.
of art piece. Yeah.
Let's make it real weird.
Real weird.
I hope so.
You're
I hope
hoping
so
it gets real.
weird.
Like a
Yeah.
dildo
This
or
is gonna
something.
be this is gonna be what you're jumping into. You're like, what do I do? And then you're like, dude,
Okay.
our followers are gonna tell
I do
you.
want to talk about this because
Okay.
I like doing pranks like with my artwork. I've done multiple different ones in the city and stuff.
Right.
I want to make mom, dad, I'm sorry. I want to make a butt plug, but make it really beautiful and ornate, and then
Okay.
go put it at like the Ringling Museum, just like
Yeah.
in the courtyard or
See
something.
if
And
someone will
people won't
notice.
know it's a butt plug.
No.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, this is like just
Yeah.
like a cool sculpture, but it's a butt plug. Like
gotcha.
knowers know. Yeah.
Because it would if you have it
See how many
sitting straight
pictures
up, it's
show up
gonna
online
look.
of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it's gonna look like something.
They'll have no idea. They're
Yeah.
gonna be looking at these butt plugs like,
Yeah.
that's beautiful piece of stonework. But
Then the
younger
people at New
people are
College
like,
and Ringling are being like, dude,
bro,
that's-
why is there like a 5 foot tall butt plug on the side? Yeah,
Or like a big string and anal beads.
yeah, exactly, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
You're going somewhere
All
with
right,
that.
so
Like,
yeah, comment, get everybody comment what you your ideas because
Just
he's
put
open
butt
to
plugs and
whatever.
We'll like it. You're
Yeah.
gonna get a lollipop if you put butt plug.
You'll get 4 likes and you'll get
We'll figure it out. Just comment your ideas. We'll find it. We'll figure
You're
it
gonna
out.
be having to
And you'll get
delete a lot of
something.
comments.
Oh gosh, yeah, we just
Watch
opened a
this
can
be.
of worms.
Watch this be the viral clip that you
Yeah.
guys get.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
you'll somehow win
14
something. We'll
million
find your
views.
comment. You'll win.
If you want to win this Gwak Pop, you need to be following both Gwak and the FloBro Show on Instagram and comment on the official Gwak giveaway video posted on the FloBro Show Instagram. Giveaway ends at the end of September 2024, and the winner will be announced and notified at the beginning of October 2024. If you are just now tuning in to our show and it's past those dates, don't worry, we'll be doing more giveaways throughout the year. Stay tuned for the next one. Now back to the show.
I'll make custom commissions if someone wants something really weird made. I'll
Yeah.
make that. Yeah.
Let's go.
He's always open for ideas.
I'm a starving artist. I'll do anything.
Most artists are starving. I feel
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm out there. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese and ramen, baby.
There you go.
And that's a wrap. This episode of the FloBro Show is brought to you by FLOrigins, Florida's most authentic lifestyle brand. Celebrate the rich culture and vibrant spirit of Florida with FLOrigins high-quality apparel, handcrafted art, and unique accessories. Visit FLOrigins.com and use code FLOBRO, FLOBRO, for an exclusive discount. You can find links to the FLOrigins gear we're wearing and the art on our studio wall in the description box below.